Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Crew Talk, brought to you by Shoot Stop Video. I'm your host, Sarah Murrens, and I've missed you guys. It's been a few weeks, but I've been wedding planning and just going crazy with all of that fun stuff. So I'm glad to be back here tonight with you. And we have a very fun panel today. I'm going to go down the line and have everyone introduce themselves in a moment. But before I do that, just wanted to remind you, if you have any questions or comments during this webinar, feel free to drop them in the chat box and we will get to them as we go along. So I'm just looking at my screen here, and up first we have Alexandra. We have Alexandra, Danny, and Gina with us today. And so Alexandra, do you want to start off and just kind of say who you are, where you are, and just like a brief little sentence about what you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Alexandra Boylan, currently in Savannah, Georgia, but I live in Los Angeles, California. And I am a writer, producer, and I make female-driven, family-friendly films.
Well, we are so glad to have you. Thank you for being here. And next we have Danny. Hey, Danny.
Hey, guys. My name is Danny Farber. I am a biz dev executive for Mandy.com. It's an online digital talent database. I'm also an actor and director myself.
Very cool. And Gina.
Hi, my name is Gina Hall, and I also work at Mandy. I run the crew side here in Los Angeles. So yeah, very excited to be here.
Well, thank you guys for joining today. And I'm just going to jump right into it. And Danny or Gina, you can take it. What is Mandy?
Yeah. Well, so Gina and I kind of work on similar sides of the same coin. I work with the cast, and Gina can kind of take over the crew side of the answer. But specifically, we are a talent database, a roster where you can find either your cast or your crew for your independent projects, for your commercials, feature films, union, non-union. We kind of do it all.
Very cool. Gina, what's
basically, I always described us as LinkedIn for the film industry. People can put up profiles. People can search for you. You can search for work. And you can also hire people really easily, and that just makes it much easier on producers and line producers that come in and want to hire quickly because things happen fast in this industry.
Absolutely. And I have to ask before we go any further, what is the name Mandy? Like, where did that come from, Mandy?
I'll probably handle this one. I've been here.
Yeah,
I think I know the story. So Mandy was actually I believe the wife of a cinematographer in the early 90s that was built a crew list that her husband, went to from time to time. And then that list got bigger and bigger. And then the internet got a little broader and people started using that list and then also posting jobs and things like that. And it just kind of became like kind of this informal job board for the industry. And then it kind of got, just a little chaotic until some, people came in, are basically the people that run the company now came in and kind of cleaned it up, made sure that everybody that was posting jobs is legitimate, does a lot of we do background checks for everybody, just make sure that, nobody's worried about scams or anything like that. So Mandy was actually a woman that kept the list.
And I like to say that it's kind of Mandy Moore's side project. She doesn't know that she's involved with it, but it really gets our foot in the door.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when you hear Mandy, you do think Mandy Moore. So yeah, I could see that. So kind of walk me through how the site works. So I'm talent and I want to kind of go on and explore. And I did go on the site and it's very cool. I love how you have all the different areas where you are, you can click on and get in. But do I need to create a profile first to see everything? Kind of walk me through how the site works.
Sure. Yeah. Well, on the talent side of things, it's pretty comparable to a lot of other digital talent databases that are available on the market. We are the cheapest option. We're based in the UK, but I'm stationed in Los Angeles, so we're really starting to grow our domestic footprint here. Nationally speaking, you can create your profile for free, and if you want to upgrade for $7.50 a month, less than a bowl of Chipotle is what I usually like to put it as, you can go ahead and get our premium membership, which allows you to add unlimited media to your profile, submit to auditions and casting calls, either in your area or kind of expand your net a little bit further and do your research on service agents that, we are able to provide within the company of agencies or headshot photographers. So, it's a little bit more involved than a couple of our other, competitive platforms. As an actor, you're not only able to find, the casting call, but then do a little bit of research on who's posting the casting call as well.
That's kind of nice. You can really go in depth into like who
Yeah.
you're auditioning for, or potentially working with. And like I said, I was kind of browsing before this, and I saw you do have like agencies, production companies, like everything, and you can click on, which is a nice feature to have for the talent side. So, is there like a vetting process for who can sign up on the clients that I guess talent or production? How do we know they're legit?
Totally. Yeah. So, well, sorry, Gina, if you want
Oh,
to.
I was going to say on the crew side, we make sure, usually they're either, I mean, they either come through me a lot of times, or we have an admin side that actually goes through and just make anybody can post a job. You or I can go in if you're going to make a short film, just as long as we have an opportunity section for internships and unpaid projects, but if you're going to be posting on our job site, it has to be paid. It has to be at least minimum wage and above. And so we do actually call people, and if they don't have their website that we know that we've seen before, we will call them and speak with them and make sure that they are who they say they are. So we do actually have an extensive vetting process to make sure that nobody's worried about not getting paid.
And then on the flip side of things, if you are an employer looking for qualified candidates, we make sure that every actor, every model, every voiceover, depending what you do, there's a few different criteria that you kind of need to meet our standards, our company standards, to apply and have your profile kind of greenlit on the site. The number one thing for actors is like you have to have a professional quality headshot. I think that immediately kind of weeds out people that are just starting to get into it, and people that are taking this as a serious profession and as a part of a step in their career. So that's our number one like bottom line base layer. And then from there, you're able to add your specific credits and then have those be verified by other members of the network that either worked on that project or that know you, similar to how Gina said to LinkedIn. You kind of have those people endorse your profile.
Okay. Alexandra, do you want to jump in and add anything, like you come from the production side, and how something like this can help people in the industry?
Oh yeah, this is wonderful. I actually just finally signed up to be on Mandy.com, you guys. So and I actually would love to use it for my next film. I think it's amazing. I mean, what a great way to. I used to be a part of something called Women in Moving Picture Salon, and we had like a email list. It was like 3,500 women on it. It was amazing because you could just like email out what you needed. And this is kind of what it is. Like whatever you need, it's a quick way to get it out there and find your crew. So I think this is awesome. Anything like that is great resource.
Yeah. I'm an independent producer and director myself, like I mentioned earlier. And, before I was hired on with Mandy, I would utilize the company as an employer and as a, an independent freelancer who's looking just to kind of crew up or, looking for auditions and whatnot. Like it's a great resource for not just outside of me working for the company, like as a member of the community, of the film community. I definitely think it's a good resource to have.
And
we've had a lot of people tell us that they were their first, a lot of first jobs come off Mandy. When you talk to people that have worked in the industry, even for, like 10, 15 years, they're like, oh yeah, my first job came from there. And so, I mean, we have everything that ranges from, people who want experienced and skilled cinematographers to production assistants that are just coming into the industry. So it ranges, but, a lot of people do get first jobs off Mandy before they have lots of connections.
Which is good. I mean, you need to build up your resume and experience somehow. So that's great. One thing I was going to ask is earlier, somebody mentioned rates and how, there's jobs that are, non-paid and paid. So for the paid jobs, is there some kind of like rate card or scale that you guys go off of that's standard for your site? Or is it up to the individual person posting the listing?
Yeah, totally. So we make sure that, on the admin side, between Gina and I and our team that works with us, as employers go ahead and post listings, because our members are the candidates pay for a premium subscription to join the site, it's our responsibility to make sure that they're going to in turn book jobs that are paying them appropriate wages and fair wages. So for us, our standard is just wherever your state local minimum wage is at, that's what we reach out to. So it's a global company. So we kind of have teams set up all over in different countries and different parts of America. So if it's, posting something in Texas versus Alabama versus Los Angeles, all have different state minimum wages. It's kind of our job to do that research and our due diligence to see, hey, is this employer meeting the verifications and the the minimum that we're requiring. And if they can't, it's an open, honest conversation. Sometimes, we'll pick up the phone and call a production company and say, hey, you're offering $75 a day. Can you meet us at $118? It's asking a company to do a little bit more on their end to make sure that our members are kind of satisfied on our end. But often we find that they'll get better candidates in doing that anyways.
And we also, most of our, I say most, but a lot of our jobs are way above minimum wage. But we also understand that producers that are trying to make projects, on a shoestring also exist, and people that are doing their very first thing for their reel may want that opportunity just to get some more experience and will willing to work for, minimum wage or slightly above. But we also have, jobs that pay, what the industry standard, what people would expect for something with more experience. So we do have a wide range, but we do have to have that minimum.
I put up a couple $850 a day acting jobs yesterday or the day before, and I was like, I've been an actor, I've been on those sets, and that's always a great payday. You know what I mean? Like, solid work. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the cool features I saw on the site, it was like the forum where people could chat like with each other, like pick the different topics. And I was just scrolling through them. One of the ones on the top was voiceover. So I clicked it because that's my world and whatnot. And so I thought that was really cool because somebody posed a question and there were like tons of responses and just feedback. Yeah. So it seems like a very active community, which is nice. That's, what you want.
Totally. We go kind of that step further of just being a place where you can find listings or jobs, and kind of we want to build that network out, and happy that kind of resonates. That's good.
And right now it's all digital, and that's been the way since the pandemic began. But before, we actually had in-person meetups, and especially in Los Angeles and New York, we would actually, all get together at a bar. We had a page where people just, would sign up, and we had great turnout. So, hopefully we can get back to that, or if people are still a little, especially in Los Angeles, still reticent about that at the moment, but we did do it. It was fun. I hope to be able to do it again sometime. And we did, more expos, and we were at, those things kind of ramp back up. I hope to do some more in person and see our community in person.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, those kind of events are always fun and always a good time. We just had a voiceover conference here in Dallas, I guess a few weeks ago. And I mean, as a voice actor, you're by yourself all day anyway. Like even when you're working, you're not like on a set with people. And so it was nice, but weird to kind of like almost 2 years, you don't see your community or your people, but it's like we were all interacting for the first time and like learning how to be social again. But it was a good time. Like I love that kind of stuff. So you brought up the pandemic, and I was going to ask how the pandemic kind of affected Mandy, or just, I mean, Alexandra, if you want to jump in and just talk about production overall and the pandemic.
Sure. I mean, I shot a movie July of 2020, one of the first indies to go, and we shot in Columbus, Georgia, and we were so nervous, obviously, to make a film at the height. I mean, we were past the bit. It was the only people making a movie was us and Tyler Perry in Georgia. We were like, no pressure. And we were like, don't the trades put it out, and we hadn't even wanted to put it out because we were so afraid that if we got shut down, we didn't want anyone to know.
But now you got to do it. Cat's out of the bag. That's always the best sometimes. Yeah.
But yeah, we performed 342 COVID-19 tests on our set. Not a single positive test. It was unbelievable. We were advised by some doctors in Georgia to come when it was like really hot. So our COVID officer was definitely more afraid of people passing out of heat stroke, because I don't know if you guys have been to Georgia in July. Oh my gosh, it's so hot. It was so hot, but we did all the protocols, and we were safe, and we had actually written the script to be one location and only 5 family members. It's like kind of like a Knives Out kind of movie where family all comes home to bury their mother. So it was the perfect film. We couldn't have had a more perfect film to shoot. That was literally 5 actors. I was scripty on top of being the writer producer. I also did scripty, and we all carried a couple extra crew positions so that we could keep it as as few people on set as possible. And we shoot for 18 days. So we just got in and got out, and we're safe. So that was amazing. We have a movie finished.
Which is great, which is a miracle to say that even by itself. You have a movie.
Exactly. But it's definitely making an independent films is already so much headache. Putting the COVID on top of it, I have gone completely gray. It was so stressful, just, so you can all imagine.
I could
And I
definitely.
think a lot of producers are failing that. I mean, we had a lot of, when it first, it all kind of came down, I think a lot of employers were just not knowing exactly what to do, how to hire, like what the protocols were going to be, what the costs were going to be on top of everything. So that was, making a lot of people nervous. And now I think we've seen the employment just go right back to where it was, because largely they had to, people had to get back to work. And so I think that people have how to do everything properly.
I know that, from a Mandy side of things, I noticed a few things specifically when the pandemic hit, in terms of a whole new job department opened up, COVID compliance and health and safety. Like those are paying positions, and it's making hay while the sun is shining, or finding a silver lining. There's people that are providing a salary for themselves, finding work as a COVID officer. We still have a ton of those listings up on our site. And then voiceover work really, really increased, because that didn't really skip a beat. Sarah, I'm sure you can attest to this as well. That stayed very, very consistent on our side of things. So luckily we are a company that, we kind of attack things from a couple different standpoints in terms of on camera or voiceover or modeling and stuff. So we had a couple different outlets. Personally though, like as a freelance filmmaker as well, Alexandra, I can totally relate. Like I did my first branded content digital series that I directed in the middle of the pandemic. And then I created my own short film that I acted and directed in and crowdfunded for it in the middle of a pandemic. And like everything that all these small wins that you have, as a filmmaker, just generally, is just amplified, because now, you can kind of add that like little asterisk of like, we did this and we survived the production and the pandemic, and now we'll get t-shirts and we'll be happy about it,
You're stronger for it.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, Gina, were you going to say something? Sorry.
I was going to also say that, with Mandy, we also really, and we still are actively pursuing remote work for people, so that people that still don't feel comfortable or, or kind of emerging, but we always do also provide remote work opportunities. And I think those things are here to stay in terms of, editor positions and, a lot of post-production is, things that don't have to be on set. People aren't asking people to come into the office anymore. So if you have the, facilities to do it at your house, if you're a writer, if you're a editor, anything that does it on a computer at home, then we have that too. So yeah, there's a lot of those kinds of opportunities now. And I think those are there to stay.
So I have a question about finding I guess listings and whatnot. So say I sign up for a talent profile and I'm on camera, I'm an actress and I want to find work. The way I fill out my profile, will I be emailed alerts that when something matches with my profile, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, you can make that as specific as you want. We, can do, so there's alerts when specific jobs are posted within your area, within your breakdown. We also can give you daily or weekly roundups as well. Oftentimes, there's a lot of people that get too many alerts, so you can scale that back to as minimum as you want. It's really kind of it's very user friendly in terms of how active you want to be involved and how much you want to get these alerts. Because there are a lot that come in, and sometimes they apply, and sometimes they don't always hit the mark. So if you want something that's very geared specific to your demographic, your breakdown, and your location, you can absolutely sign up for that alert within our system.
Do you find that a lot of people will travel? So say I'm, in Dallas, but I see this listing in, Utah, do a lot of people kind of travel around with what they find on the site?
Totally. Yeah. And we actually, on our end, on the administrative side, we're able, when we're mailing out jobs, and I'll often pitch this when I'm, trying to get an employer to just post on our site and just check out our service. We can keep it within just the state, but we can also expand that within a 100-mile radius of that city, or a 500-mile radius, or all states, or target specific states. So what I just had, it was a feature looking for a teen girl of mixed ethnicity in New Mexico. This was something that I did recently, the past couple weeks. And I knew on our demographics and our breakdown, I didn't have a lot in New Mexico, but within Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico, there's a handful. So I asked the production company, do you mind if I expand this a little bit further? Are you guys able to accommodate, those kind of, those travel accommodations. And it's per the producer's kind of discretion, but we are able to target and kind of expand that search a little bit more in depth for those people if they have the money to do so. And if not, we say, most workers local hire, but feel free to travel as far and wide as you want to go to get that job,
Yeah. And we have a lot of producers that are hiring out of their zone that they usually hire in. So, if you're Los Angeles based, but your production, next month is in Arizona and you aren't familiar with Arizona crew or Arizona talent, we can really cater to that and make sure that you find, whether it's local talent or if you're willing to fly out talent, we have a lot of that kind of thing happening.
Gina, what's your favorite, favorite thing on the site? Like, what's your favorite thing that you can do?
I mean, I do like the chat feature because I just like to see people, interacting and learning from each other. And also, I like that. I mean, my job is to help people and make it easy for them to post. So if somebody does have a lot of crew to add and it's going to take them all, they feel like it's going to take a huge time out of the day, they can send that crew list to me, and between me and our admin team, we can help them get that up. That's one of the perks of meeting with me and knowing me and stuff like that. Same with Danny. We can kind of help people get, there's a back-end feature for us that we can help people get approved faster. So, definitely reach out to us if you have a lot of crew or have any questions or things like that, because we are very helpful.
Awesome. And the word I was looking for was feature or tool. And so, Danny, what's your favorite tool on the website?
I would have to be the talent directory. I think that's the thing that, like, for anybody, for both sides of the coin, if you're employer or candidate, I think it's really helpful to see kind of who's available at your discretion or kind of who your competition is as well. You can break down as specific as, location, age, gender, ethnicity. Like you're able, before posting anything, to kind of see the roster that we have available, and that's I'm pretty sure it's on the crew side as well. If you want, I know a lot of crews, if you're looking for a female DP specifically, like, you can make sure that you're really implementing colorblind casting and kind of making sure as many people get these opportunities as possible. So I really like the talent directory feature.
Nice. Are you able to filter that based on experience?
I think there's a button between 1 and 3 years, 3 and 5 years, and then 5+ years. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was a thing at one point in time.
Okay. And Alexandra, what is like a feature or tool that you find most helpful or you want to see on a website like Mandy?
I think their website is pretty amazing. I've been on there and played around and looked at, I would like to get a little more versed in it. Especially I'm in pre-production. I shoot in January. So I think my next thing will be to be poking around the site and seeing how we can, now that I know you guys, really maybe get a little help. But I think it's really such an incredible resource, a tool. So I think it's all amazing. I think the talent part too is really, if you're looking for something very specific, that like right now we're looking for twins to play freshmen in college. Like, and we're going to do like a nationwide search to find the next big twins for this movie where this girl clones herself and in high school. So that might be something I could go to Mandy for, maybe, right?
Let's post it up. I got you.
Twins. We got to find twins. It's
totally
fun. Yeah. So that's good to know. See, I love that.
Yeah.
And Danny and Gina, are there any new or like upcoming features to the site that people can get excited about that you can talk about?
Yeah, totally. There's a lot going on internally within Mandy right now.
Yeah.
That I'm not super.
I don't know if we're at
privy to.
liberty. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that we're able to talk about, we've been acquired by Backstage, and so we are working in tandem with Backstage right now. One big happy company, and there's a lot of that versatile crossover between the back end of our site and kind of the functionality and kind of adapting some of the similar attributes that Backstage uses as well. More specifically than that, I don't know how specific we can get over the airwaves, nor do I have a full grasp of understanding like what that really looks like. It's really way above my head, but there's a lot going on.
Well, that's exciting. I guess we'll all have to stay tuned to kind of see what's going to roll out.
Yeah.
So you said you're based in the UK. So is Mandy.com like in the UK kind of just like a known website, like everybody goes to that, like that's the site they go to and it's
Yeah,
kind of
totally.
gaining traction here in the US. Is that kind of?
Well, actually, it's the Mandy brand. I have to go back. Is based in the U.S. We
Oh,
were acquired by the Mandy brand got acquired by a UK-based company, and then they completely rebranded Mandy. So the Mandy brand is actually well known over here, and they had to kind of rebrand it over in the UK. Although they and have always been the main casting site that people use over there. They were a little newer to Crew in the UK, and with the brand Mandy brand, whereas over here the Mandy brand was synonymous with Crew in the industry, and is a little bit newer to the casting side of things. So that's kind of how it works. The Mandy brand has been in the U.S. since I remember using it when I graduated from college, and however blah 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 years ago. so so it's been around a while, yeah, in the U.S. And it's a little newer. The brand is newer in the UK, but
we are headquartered out of the UK. Like that's where. Like,
yeah. That's the brand was then acquired by the UK, and then that's technically our Mandy headquarters.
So we're just bringing it back to America. That's what we're doing here in LA.
Yeah.
Having a good time.
awesome. And oh gosh, I just forgot. I was going to ask, who do you find uses it the most? Like, is it crew? Is it talent? Like, actresses, voiceover? Like, who do you find benefits most from the site right now?
It's a good question. I think everybody can benefit from using the site. I think it's always as an actor or voiceover, if that's your lane, if you're a crew member, especially, like as many places to find work for yourself. If you're a freelancer, the better, right? I think that it's always going to be helpful and positive. Employers are sometimes a little bit more complicated because sometimes you get too many applications and you don't want to sift through, if you're producing a single day commercial for $300 and whatever, that's your rate for your actor. And you already have 500 applications in there. You're not going to want to put your breakdown out on a couple of different sites. But like Alexandra said, she's looking for twins. You want as wide of a net as possible with like niche casting and stuff like that. So it really is a double-edged sword. I do think that a lot of people can benefit from using our platform.
Now, is there a cap? So say, sorry, who I just interrupted. I was going to say
for Crew, I find that, when employers are hiring, they get an appropriate amount of applications. Sometimes every once in a while I'll have somebody say, we've got way too much, take it down. I think what's really nice about our community is that the appropriate people apply and the people that aren't qualified don't. So I think that's really nice about what we have for employers is the people that you're going to see as the profiles are qualified to do your job.
Okay, and I was going to ask, so say, Alexandra's looking for twins. Is it something like where it's capped at like 30 submissions, and so like once she's received 30, like she can't receive anymore? Like, is that an option, or is that something that happens?
I don't know if we do submission caps. I've never seen submission caps.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's something
I don't think so. You can always stop. You can take down the post so nobody else sees it, and you can manage the applications from our back end if you'd rather see them come in through email and have a dedicated email box or something like this, or you can manage them on the site itself and just look at everybody that's applied. And if you just want to look for the first 20, then you can, or you can go deeper depending on who you got to apply for your job.
Okay, and just to clarify on something we talked about a few minutes ago, is the Mandy in the US more popular for crew and in the UK used more for talent, or is it kind of a little bit of everything?
That's sort of where things are lining up right now. We're available in both areas on both platforms, both sides of the site. But yeah, I would definitely say there's a larger footprint in America, for the crew side of Mandy. And then in the UK, we're like all of the big casting directors, like we are very, very, very prevalent in the UK for like how those shows and productions get booked.
Oh,
we're growing on either side in both places, really.
We're trying.
In Canada, let's not forget Canada up there. We have
and Canada's in there. Yeah.
Cool. So Alexandra, I kind of want to ask a question to you because you've been doing this for a while and have had wonderful success. So for somebody who wants to be you or just like you, what kind of advice would you give them besides using Mandy.com?
Yes, go to Mandy.com. just do it. If you want to be an independent filmmaker or a filmmaker, get friends together, get a camera, and just start shooting stuff. Surround yourself with people who want to do something different than you. When I first moved to LA 21 years ago, and I was only pursuing acting, all my friends were actors. So when I decided that I wanted to get behind the camera and start writing and producing, I realized that my actor friends were not going to direct or hold a boom for me. So it was really good to get out of my comfort zone and start making friends who are like, oh, you want to be a director? You want to be a cinematographer? And my first feature film, which is called Home Sweet Home, we made it for $10,000, 5 people in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico. Ended up selling it to RLJ Releasing, and it was on the shelves of Walmart. And the key to that was that we wrote the script around a location we knew that we had, and we did a thriller, and we went to the house. And we literally wrote it for that. And I think that's one of the best advice I can give somebody is like, if you can do a one location and you can write your entire script around it and then get some friends together, pull in some actors and just make something. Don't be afraid to just get out there and start playing, because you're not going to know anything until you know something. It's just, you got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think like, especially now with an iPhone, like you can just go out and shoot whatever. And what I've heard just through these webinars is a lot of people during the pandemic, that's what they did. I mean, there was free time and, you know, your ideas were flowing. So they went out and kind of just started creating.
Mm-hmm. And we literally made that movie just to show our parents or to prove that we could make a movie for like investors. And then we end up getting a sales agent and selling it. And so to me, it's like, you've got to always give it a try because you never know, you never know what could happen. It could end up jumpstarting your entire career.
I think that's a great point too, of just like from an indie filmmaker, like spirit of like, I know a lot of people that put the cart way before the horse and they're like, well, how do we, get the money, or what are we going to do? How do we sell it? Or how do we get into festivals? And if you ask yourself all these questions before you ever go through the motion of making the thing happen, you'll never make the thing happen. If you know exactly how hard it is to make a movie, nobody will be making movies. It's a very complicated, difficult thing to do. As soon as you get into it though, and you're like, I have to finish this thing, or there's that filmmaker's fiery spirit within you that like the drive that forces you to get up at 4:30 in the morning, drive 45 minutes to set, work 12 hours, then go home and do it again. Like when you find your community and your people that are like in it to make it with you, and you're telling a story that everybody's passionate about, I mean, there's really nothing better. That's it,
And that's the key right there. You have to love it and be passionate about it. And you're right, not thinking about, the forest for the trees and being like, well, where is this going to go? And like, no. Just like, if you don't love making it, you won't finish this project, even to get it out there, to even try to get sold or go to a film festival. So I'm with you on that. We made the movie really for fun and to show our parents. And that's probably why it got finished, because we really just were enjoying the process of learning and making it and creating it without any pressure of where it would ever go. It was really just something we wanted to do.
I also think, sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I get so nerdy about this stuff. But it's something that I'm every project you learn more lessons, right? And every time you make a thing, you're always kind of adding more things to the reservoir of knowledge and stuff. And what I'm starting to come to terms with and grappling and realizing is that everybody holds their project to be the most precious thing possible. And as soon as you let that go, you understand that this won't be the most groundbreaking thing that will shatter the academy and everybody will know your name. Just take all of that ego out of the process and just focus on telling a story. Hopefully, if this isn't the best story you'll ever tell, the next one will be better. And like, it's making sure that you're not, because I have friends that never make get their projects out of development, or even just like finish a script because they're like, well, it's not perfect. It's not, The Departed or whatever. And it's not like Scorsese started there. You got to work to it. You got to make bad movies before you can make good movies.
Yeah.
And I've made a lot of bad movies and a couple good movies. So it worked,
Yeah. I mean, but I find that that's a common theme when we do the crew talks, is that when you're passionate about it and you love it so much, and that's what you're pouring into it. That's usually when things work or start to click for people. Yeah. It's like the passion that goes into it, which is very important. You should be passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we have a question in our Q&A box from Luis Gonzalez. Hi, Luis. Thank you for joining us. He says, hi there. Any advice or information in general regarding Mandy International? I'm a composer from Mexico looking for new opportunities.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That would be the crew side of things, probably. If you're putting if you're interested in something like Mandy, putting a profile up and having the ability, you can put reels up. So if you have samples that people can listen to, Composer is one of those things that can be done remotely now. And a lot of people are looking for, I do post. It's not the most common thing that I post for, but there are people who are looking for composers on our site, and that visibility there is fantastic. So really, it's so easy to set up a profile, and then if you want, you can poke around the site and look for jobs or have people discover you. But it's something that you could just put your samples up, put your resume up. If you have stuff that you've already done for films, you can put clips up and just start connecting with people.
And then I have a non-Mandy endorsed little hack for composers that I recommend. Go to Indiegogo or Kickstarter and look at all these short films that are fundraising, that are features or anything that's like in development, because that's the most public form of like, hey, you can see exactly who's on the production team, who's making this thing happen, whether or not they're getting their money from it, and then donate to the campaign and reach out and say, hey, I would love to get in front of you and work. Here's my stuff. And that's the way of like kind of, hacking the system. Definitely utilize the Mandy International resources, but also like the internet's a very wide and vast place.
That's a great tip. And I've never heard that, never thought about that, to go to like the Kickstarter and stuff. That's one to remember. Do you have any more of those tips you can share?
Yeah,
I got a million.
Insider secret.
I got nothing off the top of my head.
Old, like you've been in the industry for 20 years.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, kid.
I got a million of them. No.
Very, very cool. One question I had was, is there an app for Mandy?
There's not.
No. I don't even think that ever crossed my mind in my tenure at Mandy.
It has crossed ours several times, don't worry. But right now, it's best as a web-based platform, and that's how it functions best. It is optimized for going on your browser, on your phone, and you can use it that way, but there's not a specific app for it yet.
Yet. So you said yet. So is that something that might come down the road, possibly?
I don't see it on our calendar necessarily, but they
not
don't tell me everything. They don't tell us everything.
Yeah.
They don't tell us everything. So we're not entirely. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
We'll look out for that and the other announcements that you guys couldn't quite talk about yet.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I think, and I hope I've covered most of Mandy.com, but is there anything we haven't touched on that you think people should know about the site, and that there's a feature that they really need to utilize and you've seen success when people do this or that? What do you think, Gina?
I mean, I think I've definitely seen the most success for employers, and that's who I deal with a lot. When you are looking for talent, to be very specific in your posting, not just saying, I'm looking for a DP and call me. We get those sometimes, and you're like, nobody applies to this because nobody trusts that particular posting. So, the more you don't have to necessarily put a specific rate, but, let people know what, maybe with the ballpark here, it's negotiable that, you're looking to pay a day rate of, that is, maybe your ultra low budget, maybe your size budget, maybe your, big budget. And the more detail you post, even if you can't be terribly specific about all the details, the better response you're going to get. And then if you're applying, filling out your profile in completion, making sure that you have a reel up there, that you have your most recent credits, your most impressive credits up top, and signing up for our alerts, because people hire fast in this industry. I mean, sometimes it's like, I remember, I when I was, applying for crew and even assistant positions in my early career, I would go in and they hadn't even had, they hired the person that came in and right before me, and they didn't even have time to call me and tell me not to come in. So people hire quickly. So, set up those email alerts and apply fast, because people, want some results that day,
Absolutely. Pays to be first sometimes.
Yeah.
What about you, Danny?
I mean, Gina, that was all really great. I would say on an employer side of things, a little insider tip that from our marketing department is on your role name. So, if it's whatever the character's name is, also specify the day rate in that name, because the way that our mail outs work is that's the number one, that's the top line that our candidates see. oh, Billy, 250 a day or whatever the thing is. And then below it, you'll do your breakdown and all that stuff. That's just a little what I've learned works for our employers. And then for candidates, and if you're an actor, especially nowadays, I mean, your morning ritual should be just like looking at the trades back in the day. Like your morning ritual should be hopping on, seeing casting breakdowns, applying to everything and anything that fits you within reason, and also to make sure that you're qualified for the job. But I mean, you should really get into that habit of like spend 10 to 15 minutes at the top of every day and like see what did you miss from yesterday, or what do you have, what's coming on this morning, or find way maybe that makes sense better at the end of the day to make that happen. But really carve out that time to stay as involved and get your name and face and profile in front of these candidates or these employers. It's helpful.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like do it first thing every day. Just part of your routine, part of the routine.
Yeah.
Like making
coffee and go.
Yes.
Over a cup of coffee. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Alexandra, do you have any advice or like insider tips for people who are watching?
Insider tips specifically for
what you do?
For what I do, insider tips.
Or just advice that kind of helped you when you were beginning.
Oh gosh. Well, going to small towns that really believed in what we were doing, that was a big thing. I left LA. I've never shot a movie in LA. So all of my movies I've shot, either I went for my Christmas movie, I actually went to my hometown in Georgetown, Massachusetts. And I went to my high school that I graduated, was like, can I shoot my movie here? And they were like, of course you can. And then I went to the mayor of the town that's like a tiny town. And they were like, no one's ever asked us to shoot a movie here. Yeah, just let the police know. And there was like no permit needed. So, go to small towns that are really excited about what you're doing. And they'll we had a cops volunteer on my Christmas set just to be a part of it, because they were really excited that we were making a movie and we didn't have to have any permits, just and so small town, and go to your hometown and do it, especially if you're well connected, because our Christmas movie looks like millions of dollars and it's much smaller budget, but it was because the whole town came out to support us and help us and give us everything we needed for free. Every location, we have an entire we have a apple orchard that gave us the entire apple orchard to shoot the movie in. So those are my tips. And also when you're starting out and you don't have a lot of money, one thing I'd really love to give the advice is to try to make trades with people. Instead of just saying, can I have this for free? Think about what you can offer them. When I was shooting a movie called At Your Own Risk, we had no money. We were shooting in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico. We wanted to use this National Historical Society land. And we didn't have any money to offer them, but we said, we have a drone and we will shoot aerial photography for you and give it to you. And they loved that. They were like, you can shoot here if we can have that footage for our museum.
Well,
and they ended up using all that museum. It now plays in their museum. And in return, we got to shoot our movie there. So finding ways that you can actually give back to the person who's giving you something. We shot a wedding movie, and this bridal shop gave us donated all the dresses and the location, and we promised to do Instagram social takeovers with the stars with their dresses as a give back. So it's like just finding ways, and then marketing is so expensive, so if you can find a way to market for people, they'll give you a location for free if it is marketing. So that's another tip.
That's a great tip right there. That was awesome.
Yeah. That was brilliant. And I love the hometown feel of like a Christmas movie, like when it's it takes like all the Hallmark movies, like it takes place in the small hometown, and I love that. And so that's a great idea, I guess, for anything you're looking.
And we shot in December, so the entire town was already lit up.
It's free dressing
design for free, guys.
Yeah.
It was already lit up for Christmas, and it looks like $1 million, and it was free.
That's awesome. So cool. We had one question pop in while we were chatting. And it says, for the email notifications for crew, can you select specific roles such as DP, gaffer, or grip jobs?
Absolutely. In fact, that's what we encourage, because you don't want to, if you're a DP or cinema, you don't want things for wardrobe or, greens or, editor, things like that. So yes, you can absolutely click the boxes, and we have a lot very specific. We drill down to just every role that is possible on a set. And, we're recently we also added the COVID roles. We're trying to keep on top of anything that's modern or new or, that's developing in this era. So you can get just the precise things you're looking for.
You make it as specific as you want it.
Mm-hmm. And if you're a multi-hyphenate, then you can click many boxes.
Yes. Very cool. Well, I think we've kind of covered everything I think we need to cover, right? Guys, did we cover all Mandy? Okay, perfect.
I think so.
So I'm just gonna do what I do every week or every crew talk where I go down the line like I see it here. If you just want to say your socials, like where people can find you, if you have a website or if you're more active on Instagram. And Alexandra, I'll start with you.
Wonderful. Well, I actually published a book, so please go out and buy it. It's called Create Your Own Career in Hollywood. I literally started with nothing and I created an entire career so people are always asking me how I did it. Well, I published a book so you can find out exactly how I went from nothing to having a production company and 7 feature films in 10 years. Create Your Own Career in Hollywood, available on Amazon. I am totally active on Instagram, Alexandra Boylan, or Facebook. Reach out to me. My website is mustardseedent.com if you want to check out my films.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being here, and your advice on everything was perfect. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Danny, you are next.
If anybody wants to check out any of my work or kind of get in touch, stay in touch. I'm very active on, I think Instagram is probably the best. Sir Danny Farber. One day I will be knighted and it will all kind of make sense. We're manifesting it. So it's either sirdannyfarber.com is my full creative portfolio. You can check out all the music videos and movies that I've made as a producer, as a director, things that I've starred in as an actor, or, reach out to me via email for Mandy. Happy to help anybody and everybody out there. My email is danny@mandy.com. I'm happy to answer anybody's questions.
Awesome. And you guys can feel free to put this in the chat box too for people to grab. And Gina, last but not least.
You can find me. I'm probably most active on Twitter and Instagram. It's under Capra_girl. That's Frank Capra, big fan. CAPRA_GIRL on both Twitter and Instagram. And then you can reach if you have any Mandy questions specifically. That is Gina@mandy.com.
Very, very cool. Well, for everybody watching, those links will be up whenever this goes up on Shoots.video, so you can find them there too. But to the 3 of you, thank you again for being here and for all of your advice and knowledge. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Guys, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
You might be looking at Shoot.video and thinking, so how does this all work? Is this about A, setting up the whole crew for me, B, just giving me options and having me handle it, or C, something in between? Well, it's D, all of the above. To put it simply, we're here to help you in any way that we can to get the crew and talent you need for your next production. We believe that every level of video production can benefit from a well-maintained list of qualified crew members for every position. This goes for pre-pro, on-set, and for post. Every project is different, so if you need a producer to help manage the decision-making process, then we can totally do that. If you're already a producer and want to build your own crew from scratch, then go for it. We're here to make your next production a success. And if you are crew or talent looking for producers that want you, then you've come to the right place. Sign up now, and also leave a referral for any solid people that you know that are already on here. Thank you for considering Shoots.video, and happy shooting!